Hey guys, so I'll be introducing you to CodeParrot today. CodeParrot is a tool designed to convert your Figma files directly into code. We'll get started with this React Native project today, and we have this Figma file with a Twitter clone. So we'll be building a Twitter clone in React Native, and I have a bare React Native project with Expo setup, right? And I also have this CodeParrot extension installed. So if you don't have it installed already, I'll suggest you to go to Extensions tab, look up for CodeParrot, and you can just find it here, right? So as soon as that's done, let's get started. Once you log in and everything, you'll see all of these options as it is, right? So yeah, as you can see, there are quite a few options here. We can just go to settings. We can select from multiple frameworks. Since we are using React Native, I've selected React Native, and we can also select between TypeScript and JavaScript. So I'll be using TypeScript, and we'll come back to these coding standards later. Let's keep it as it is, and let's say we are okay. So let's get started. Uh, so let's say we have to build this tweet component today. So what I can do is I can just copy this as a link to selection, make sure it's a link to selection, and I'll just paste it here in the option given here. Okay, so you can see that CodeParrot will load that particular Figma component in VS Code, and now like since we're already specifying that we're using React Native and TypeScript, we don't need to specify anything further, but if you want, you can specify things further, and you can click on send. So it will write a code. So this code will be in React Native and TypeScript, and you can see that it's downloading 8 vectors. What these 8 vectors are? So these 8 vectors are basically these icons which can be used directly as SVGs. So CodeParrot will reference it directly as SVGs, but since we are using React Native, the use of SVGs is kind of you know there's a lot there's a lot of workaround to do that, right? So I'll just be instead using PNGs. I've already downloaded those PNGs, so I wouldn't be like I'll just be like changing SVG to PNG, but you can do that yourself, right? So since we have this code for the tweet component, so I'll just copy this, and I'll click here, and we have components custom. I'll create a new file called tweet.tsx. I'll paste this here, and once that's done, you can see that this assets folder is not referenced correctly, right? Because we have to go two folders above, and then we have to reference it, right? So we can use these coding standards here. So what we can say is use uh, like go 2 folders behind and use assets for imports, right? So that is done. So from next time it'll make sure to do that, and I'll just fix it here. I'll change SVD to PNG, and I'll see you then. So this is fixed, this is PNG, and I'll do this for everything else. Right, so I've changed SVG to PNG, as you can see, and also fixed everything. Just the one thing that here instead of round.png, I'll just make it human.png because that's how I've downloaded it. So if I go to the simulator now, in the Explore tab, we can see that nothing is there. So what we can do is we can just quickly go to the Explore tab. We can go to App, Tabs, and Explore. And with this in the side, we can just add the tweet component here, right? So just a second, sorry. Yeah. So once we save it, you can see that the tweet is visible, right? So it's matching the design quite a bit. I mean, I literally did nothing, and this tweet code was created for me, and it's quite accurate. So that's how CodeParrot is designed. So it gives you the 80% code, and the rest 20% you can fix as a developer, right? Um, okay, so that looks pretty good. Now what we can do is we can create the whole screen all together, right? So we'll just go here in Twitter home, right? I'll select all of this as a component, copy link to selection, okay, and I'll just go to CodeParrot. I'll create a new session. It's always better to create a new session. I will select from Figma, paste it here, and let's see what happens. Okay, so that component was loaded. Now I have to specify something further, right? I'll just say that you can reference your components as well. So use @tweet, right? So tweet.tsx. So this is the component we created before. So we are telling CodeParrot that, hey CodeParrot, use this already created components. Use this component and map over some sample data filter home screen component, right? That is one thing. And also use safe area context so that the things so that the component doesn't touch the top. Okay, so we'll specify this and let's see what happens, right? So it is referencing that tweet.tsx component. Now it's again downloading 43 vectors, which I don't want. Okay, we have already downloaded quite a few things here. So I have all of these components downloaded as PNGs. So we'll just reference that in the code directly, right? Okay, so since we already have downloaded the images, I'll just show you what CodePad has done. So it has created a home screen component for us, which has a tweet data, and it's passing it as props, right? But in our tweet component, we are not handling it as props, right? So that's what CodePad has edited, the tweet component. So I'll just copy this here, I will paste it. There would be a few errors, right? Instead of avatar, this should be human. And okay, so since we don't have any props here, this will fail. So let's add the props, right? So we have this screen component. We'll copy this. We will go to okay, so by the way, this assets folder is looking quite messy, right? Because we have SVGs as well as PNGs, but since we are using only PNGs, we don't need the SVGs, right? So what we can do is we can just type this command in your terminal, and it will delete all the SVGs, right? That's one thing. And yeah, let's see, we will go to tabs, we'll go to explore, and since it asks for like tweet props, what we can do is instead of rendering it here, we'll create a new tab, right? We call it what was it, home.tsx, right? And we can just paste it here. Now again, we have import issues. We didn't specify imports for this, right? But you can see that the other imports are working fine. This time it used like double slash instead of single, because we specified in the coding standards, right? So that's how it works. We can just import it, notes, components, custom, and tweet, right? Okay. So that's done. And if we go to home, you can see that the tweets are rendered. So right now there are only two tweets because we have only two things in the tweet data. But you can ask CodePad to do CodePad to add more tweets, or you can just add them yourself. The one thing that CodePad didn't do was create this navbar sort of thing. So if you want, you can just tell it to create. Otherwise, you can create it yourself. Since you can see, like, it's pretty much matching what you want, right? So that's the beauty of CodeParrot. So okay, let's move on to our next component. So let's say we have to create this search screen. So I can just select the thing together, the whole component, the whole screen as a and I'll copy it as a selection. Once I go to CodeParrot, I can paste it, and that whole screen will be loaded in VS Code in CodeParrot. Now let's just hit send and see what it does. It's downloading 20 vectors. It's downloaded as SVGs, so we don't want that. I've already downloaded all of these as PNGs, so we will take advantage of that. I will just copy this code. I will go here, I'll create a new tab. So we will call it search.tsx, right? And we'll paste the code here. So it says Twitter search. Now instead of we don't want all of this, right? So because this status bar is already there in the phone, right? So there's no need of all of this. Search bar, okay, cool. Search icon is there. So instead of SVGs, we'll make it PNGs. Also notice that this is using a double slash this time. So that's good. And yeah, instead of SVGs, we'll make it PNGs. And instead of round, we'll just make it human, because that's how I've saved it. I'll just fix all of this, and yeah. Alright, since everything is fixed now, we can visit this component and we can see that it's quite accurate, right? It says recent searches as it should, and it's just that this search Twitter thing is moved forward. So what we can do is we can just specify that use safe area context so the content doesn't overflow, right? So we can do that, and yeah, it's using safe area view this time. We'll just get rid of the status bar. You can specify that you don't want the status bar, since that was already included in the Figma component. It's already like it's including that as well in the code. Okay, so I'll just copy this new component, and yeah, I'll have to fix this again, so I'll do that. Yeah, as you can see now, it's looking great. We don't have the search icon, and that is because it's still SVG. So yeah, we have the search icon as well. Again, like it has some issues, like I talked about before. CodePad gives you 80% correct code, so the rest 20% you have to fix yourself. You can just specify what you want to be changed. It will do that for you. So after changing, if I just specify that fix the search icon, and also make sure that the styling of the user list is correct, so as it should be, right? And yeah, that's it. I think it didn't include that these recent search as well, so also include recent search query, and after this is done, we click on send. Right, so this is what it gave me. So right now you can see that it looks pretty well. This time it used a different approach to do this. So it uses this array.fill method to like render the list components. So it looks much better, and it's using a safe area context as well. So that's how we created the search screen, right? Okay, let's move forward. Okay, our next component, we have this list screen. So I'll just select this component together. I'll copy this as a link to selection. I'll go to select from Figma, I'll paste it here, and that component will be loaded in CodeParrot. Once that's done, I'll click on submit. So it's downloading 22 vectors, and again 22 vectors from the previous session as well. So we have these as props. It's given the list data as well, and yeah, I think that's about it. So we will create a new screen called lists, and we'll go to this tab, we'll go with list.tsx, paste it here, and yeah, let's see how it works. Okay, so again, like instead of round 5, I'll fix these imports as usual. Alright, so we'll go to the list component, and we can see that it's looking quite well, right? So again, it's quite not in the safe area context, so we will just specify CodeParrot again to use the safe area context as well. Actually, you can specify this here in the coding standards only. Make sure to use the safe area context so that the content does not overlap. I'll save it, and I will tell it to use the safe area context in the same code, right? Okay. Alright, that's done. I'll do the same thing. I'll fix the images and get back to you. Right, so as you can see, it's given us this, and the arrow and the lists are not quite accurate, right? So fix the left arrow to be on the top left, and make the styles and margins better. We can specify anything further, and it'll do that for us. And as soon as that's done, we can just copy paste it here, and we can see the magic, right? So this is all about CodeParrot. You can just go to codeparrot.ai and check it out. Create some cool designs, and let me know how it goes. Thank you so much.